Some free agent fits. Lewis, we start with the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. The Seahawks have at least given him the option to go out there and see what he can find. What's the best fit for Kenneth Walker?
Can you imagine Kenneth Walker paired up with Jaden Daniels in Washington? I think this makes a lot of sense. Jaden needs more help. He needs a guy who has Kenneth Walker's running style, his kind of intensity, his kind of ferocity, that wide zone running scheme that they really utilized in Seattle is something that he really does major in. I think he's tailor-made for it. I think this would take Washington and really relieve some of the pressure off of Jaden Daniels, maybe allow him to stay a little bit healthier and really concentrate on the throwing aspect of the football.
Kmart, I'm not diminishing the player. Kenneth Walker's a terrific player. If he hadn't been the Super Bowl MVP, I don't think this would be a story of nearly this magnitude. It was part of a 1-2 punch in that Seattle backfield last year. They got a lot of other people they need to pay after winning the Super Bowl.
1,000%. Listen, I feel like the unfortunate part for Seattle is they just have too many people that need money. Mm-hmm. And you got to get Jackson Smith and Jigma signed, Devin Witherspoon. So Kenneth Walker, listen, he wins the Super Bowl, and then he gets to go somewhere else and get money. So I actually like that fit in Washington.
And he may wind up staying there. They could still negotiate a deal with him long term.
Fair.
Let's go to the next one, because this is what I'm interested in. Kmart, what is the best fit for free agent Mike Evans?
Hear me out, guys. I'm going to say Buffalo. I know a lot of people want to put A.J. Brown with Josh Allen, but based on the conversations I was having in Indy, the sense I get in Buffalo is that Brandon Beane is under, their GM is under, he's not pressured. He doesn't feel stressed. He doesn't feel like he's desperate, like he has to go out and spend a ton of money to get, or assets to get somebody like A.J. Brown. Like, I think Mike Evans actually is a better fit personally. I like it with Keon Coleman. That's a guy who they drove the bus over him back and forth. I think Keon Coleman can watch a Mike Evans and say, that's how I should be a leader.
Nate, do you like the fit, Mike Evans to Buffalo?
Yeah, I like that fit. I think I was surprised that Brandon Beane doesn't feel a bunch of pressure to expend assets to get a weapon, because it feels like that was a big problem last year. We saw that in the playoffs. So maybe Mike Evans isn't the right answer, or excuse me, maybe A.J. Brown isn't the right answer. Mike Evans could be the answer, but they need something. They need something fast.
Yeah, they do. The only thing is, look, I love Mike. We all love Mike. We know what his track record of production has been ever since he stepped foot on a football field in the NFL and Tampa exclusively. I just don't think Mike is truly a one at this point. I think he's a guy who's more like a 1B or a really, really good 2. Buffalo needs a 1. Buffalo needs A.J. Brown. They need that kind of guy. Mike could still fit in there perfectly. I'll tell you what, you get someone like Mike Evans, and you can add a 1 or a guy who's a true X or Z who has a ton of speed on the outside. Now you're cooking up there in Buffalo. So if I'm Brandon Beane, look, I'm with you. I don't know how Brandon doesn't feel a lot of pressure, quite honestly. Yeah. Regardless of what happened with Keon Coleman, they need some more weapons on the perimeter. They just do, and that Mike would be a start.
If they could find a way to get themselves A.J. Brown, I would be with you. If they can't, Mike Evans feels like a pretty good other option. In the meantime, Dominique, the long-standing saga of Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals, mercifully on his part, came to an end yesterday. They don't tag him. He finally gets his freedom. What's the best fit for this outstanding pass rusher?
Yeah, I think just about anywhere that's really close, because he's a great pass rusher. The Ravens come to mind as a team that has a lot of talent on defense but have been deficient with the pass rush. A player like Trey Hendrickson, even though he didn't play all the games last year and he's getting older, he's still an excellent pass rusher and gets pressure. So I think almost any team that feels like they could be improved by having a little bit of pass rush on the edge will be perfect, but the Ravens have been dying for it for a long time.
He says Ravens. Lewis, what do you say? Trey Hendrickson, give me the right fit.
I think it's Indianapolis. I think there he would be reunited with defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. He had nothing but production with Lou when he was in Cincinnati. Hembo, always delivering the big-time stats. In the 4 seasons he was with Lou in Cincinnati, Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt, only 2 people who had more sacks than Trey Hendrickson. He produced for him. I think when you're getting at this point in your career, when you're 30-plus years old, you need to go somewhere where you're going to be comfortable and where people understand you and you understand them. And I think Indianapolis, they don't have any pass rush anyway. They're bottom quarter in the league in pass rush win rate. They need somebody like this.
All right, I got 1 vote for the Ravens. I got 1 vote for the Colts. Kmart, I'm still waiting for the right one. Give me a fit for Trey Hendrickson.
I think any contender, but I kind of feel like Patriots should.
Patriots?
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a team.
He wants you to say Dallas.
I mean, I'm waiting. I'm sitting here waiting. I'm sitting here waiting.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm hearing all of a sudden. I got Joker, and the triple. Oh, how about someone say the Dallas? Jerry Jones comes out last week and says, I think I'm going to spend some money in free agency this year. And now all of a sudden, Trey Hendrickson is available, who is an outstanding pass rusher and won't cost you anything like what Myles Garrett would and what Max Crosby would. And here's it fits like a hand in a glove.
Hand in a glove. Did I say Patriots? I totally meant.
You meant Cowboys.
I meant to say he should go to Arlington, Texas.
If by Patriots you meant Cowboys, then I agree with you completely.
Yes, I was confusing.
But if the glove doesn't fit.
Yes, listen. Here's the thing.
Then in the playoffs they'll sit. You know what I'm talking about. He's the perfect guy.
I agree with you. Listen, I agree with you that the Cowboys need to do something on every single level of their defense. They need an edge rusher. They need corners. They need a linebacker. I like it. I feel like any contender should be in on Trey Hendrickson. I do think he is that guy that can put your defense over the top. Maybe, perhaps I didn't think about it because I see that the Cowboys need a lot of things.
They need a lot of things.
I would rather put Max Crosby in Dallas, but hey, that's just.
But Max Crosby is going to cost you 2 ones, right? Max Crosby is not just going to cost you money. He's going to cost you, at least they're posturing like it's going to take 2 ones to get Max Crosby out of Vegas.
Yeah, it could. I mean,
a 1 and a 3. Is he that much better? He's that much better than Trey Hendrickson?
Okay, well, he's
when you need other things too.
I think he's 2. Yeah, I mean, he's 2 years younger.
2 years younger.
I mean, Trey is coming off of an injury season. Although, you know what? Look, I think we could have all forecasted that, considering the fact that he didn't play football all off season.
Yeah.
We talked about that on this show endlessly about the fact of the risk that you're running there. Look, I see your point.
Yes.
I like the.
I see it too.
I like the fit. Look, I'm just a stickler for older free agents need to really find their fit, and it needs to be perfect for them in order for you to really get the mileage out of them that you want. I've lived through it, and I think it would be perfect in Indy.
Finish it up, Nick. I'm told you're making faces.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I want a team that feels a little bit closer. Like Trey Hendrickson, as a part of a number of players coming to Dallas, feels like it makes sense. But I think given Trey's background and his history in Cincinnati in recent years, I think he fits a lot better with a team that's like, we're there. We just need one little piece to get over the top. The Cowboys do have a couple extra picks this year, or have an extra pick this year in the first round that they could trade for him, but they need so many more pieces on defense.
All right. And so they could get some of them in free agency and they get some of them in the draft. And I'm running out of time, so I got to take a break, but I'm coming back with more on this as we go to the NBA. Is the King on his way out? What could be the one big move left for LeBron? You will hear it directly as we continue. And then, as I mentioned, Jerry Jones, can we trust him to spend the big money this offseason in Dallas? What should be their first priority? I've already given you a hint.
Obviously.
I'm giving you the answers to the test today.
Trey Hendrickson.
The franchise tag deadline was yesterday, and we saw some notable players get the franchise tag. The New York Jets placed the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall, paying him over $14 million to stay with the team while they try to work out a long-term deal. Daniel Jones received the transition tag from the Indianapolis Colts, giving them the ability to match any offer Jones would get from other teams. If signed, Jones will make just under $38 million. And Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III did not receive a franchise tag from the Seahawks and will hit free agency next week, as well as Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson, who played in just 7 games last season. All right, our NFL analyst Louis Riddick joins us right now. The Bengals opted to not tag Trey Hendrickson. He's now available to be a free agent. So, Louis, what does the market look like for the defensive end?
Yeah, look, obviously pass rusher is something that every team is after, and Trey has been one of the very best, outside of last year where injury really robbed him of his season by and large because of the fact that really he wasn't in camp. And this was one of the things that you'll get worried about when you get a defensive player who plays that position, who's, on the right side of 30 years old. Trey's 31 right now. That's a lot of the things that you really worry about as far as, they're being injury prone when they haven't been through training camp. I think the market will still be significant for him. In particular, I would love to see him go to Indianapolis and reunite with his former defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo. It's a team that really needs pass rush. They were in the bottom quarter, bottom third of the league in terms of pass rush win rate. So I think it will be a selective market. I think Trey needs to be smart about it and just go somewhere where the coaches are familiar with what he brings and could really put him in the positions that to succeed for sure.
Let's talk quarterbacks. The Cardinals informed Kyler Murray that they intend to release him on the first day of the new league year next Wednesday. Which teams make the most sense for Kyler Murray?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me, quite honestly, because Kyler is coming off of, a significant Liz Frank injury. He's had an ACL injury a couple of years ago, and I know that a lot of people like, to follow the breadcrumbs, so to speak, and point to Minnesota, and everyone would love to play for Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown. I just don't know if necessarily that's the right thing for the organization, especially considering that they're still trying to figure it out with J.J. McCarthy. Look, I would like to see him go to a place like the Jets, quite honestly, where it's not one of those situations where they're looking at him like a bridge quarterback because they have some young up-and-coming quarterback, and he can kind of just go ahead and kind of just organically grow into the starting role. He is still only 28 years old and probably has a lot of time left in his career to go ahead and play, provided that he can stay healthy. So I think it's very important where he goes and which teams pursue him, given what he still has left in the tank.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is still young with a lot left in the tank as well. Now, the Colts are placing the transition tag on QB Daniel Jones. What does that mean for the Colts and Jones moving forward?
I think what you're seeing here is that the Colts are kind of like hedging their bets, right? I mean, because they don't know, what exactly the timetable will be as far as when Daniel will recover from the Achilles injury that he suffered late in the season in December. I think right now they weren't willing to necessarily go ahead and put a franchise tag on him. They wanted to save the salary cap dollars between the transition tag and the franchise tag, while also at the same time holding the rights of first refusal, meaning if another team tries to sign him to an offer sheet, they have the right to go ahead and match it if he can go ahead and set them, and kind of get a contract that exceeds what they think that maybe he could get on the open market. So I think right now the ball's in his court. And the ball's in every other team's court to kind of really set the market for Daniel, because I think the Colts have kind of told you, hey, look, we're a little leery about the injury that you're coming off of, and we really didn't want to put the franchise tag. So here, time's yours now. You go ahead and set the market for us, and we'll make our decisions accordingly. Yeah,
and Daniel Jones was on fire before that injury. Colts 8-5 before he went down with that Achilles injury in Week 14. Louis Riddick with the latest. Thanks so much, Louis.